Good morning. It is Thursday, July 29th at about 10:40. Yeah, 10:40 in the morning. My name is Larry Cedar, and I'm back with you for another session on scanning, spelled Sqanning. Scanning is a relaxation technique which utilizes the incremental release of muscular tension to achieve a deep state of physical, emotional, and mental calm. Very, very simple technique, easy to learn, easy to use. I'm sort of addicted to it. I really believe in it as it applies to life and philosophy and mental, physical well-being across the board. And I put a lot of time into it. I have over the years, and I continue to see the benefits and be fascinated by its application in the real world. So scanning is based on the writings of a man named Thaddeus Golas. I'll go through the preliminaries as I always do. A man named Thaddeus Golas, Golas. He wrote a book called The Lazy Man's Guide to Enlightenment. And in it, he basically describes the universe as motivated by two basic forces: contraction, squeeze your hands together tight and feel what that feels like, and expansion, 3, 2, 1, release. Everything in the universe, everything we think, say, do, touch, experience, is it in any given moment in a state of contraction or expansion or vacillating somewhere between the two, which is what we tend to do. So we tend to become more contracted or more expanded depending on the circumstances of our life. And you can kind of feel that instinctively. You kind of know when you're contracted and when you're expanded, and I won't get into too much detail as to how you do that, but if you start to pay attention to it, you'll start to realize when you feel limited, constrained, rigid, and when you feel open, flexible, aware. These are some of the words that describe these two states, contraction and expansion. So they're both valid. We, as human beings, are contracted. We're the bringing together of cells and molecules, and material and oxygen and flesh and bone and all that it can, implies to be a human being. This is a contraction. And when we die, we will completely expand. All of those materials will dissipate and turn to dust, and then, reassemble someday into something else, maybe another human being. I don't know. So it's a fundamental dynamic of our existence that we vacillate between these two states. And I do this to show that you're on a spectrum, contracted, expanded. So generally speaking, when we're tense or unhappy, we're overly contracted. Now I'll give you a perfect example. Yesterday, I lost my temper about something, and I have a pretty bad temper. Part of the reason I do this. I really lost my temper. It was like a switch flipped, and I turned red, and I got very angry, and I could feel my blood pressure going up. And this was a highly contracted state. Why? Because I was attempting to fix this problem, deal with this issue, which I didn't like, which made me feel bad. So I was bringing together all of my forces, all of my thoughts and intentions and muscularity and breath and flesh and thought into dealing with this problem. All my forces were being rallied to deal with this problem. It was a highly contracted state. And I realized it wasn't good for me. And I knew that I needed to bring myself into balance to expand. So it's very difficult because contraction is very seductive. It's very appealing because when you contract, you feel like you're building something, you're making something happen, you're having an effect, you have power in the universe. So it's very difficult to let go of that, even if it's not constructive, even if it's not helpful, even if it's the opposite, if it's destructive, it's hard to let go of. So what you do in these cases is you want to expand. Now, what we do with scanning, it's a very simple technique. We use the muscles to bring us into an expanded state. So in other words, instead of thinking our way out of a problem, thinking I've got to calm down, I'm going to stop thinking about that, I'm going to just be chill and meditate or whatever, we actually use the physical musculature as a guide. Because what we say is if you can expand on any level within your body or being, the rest of your body will follow. If you say this is where we're headed into a more expanded state, you send a message to your body that we are going to now move from contraction to expansion. So if you squeeze your hands together, you're contracted. So if you want to expand, what do? You let go. 3, 2, 1, release. So we indicated through our muscular action that we were moving ourselves into a opposite state. We're moving away from contraction into expansion. And the beautiful thing about this process and technique is that you can't contract and expand at the same time. You can't squeeze your hands together and release your hands at the same time. It's a physical impossibility. So at any moment when you begin to expand, you've moved away from contraction. So this is really useful to remember because if you're in circumstances where you just feel like you can't escape a bad feeling, you've lost your temper, or you're depressed, which is a form of contraction, or you're just generally upset about something or disturbed or obsessing about something, or whatever that contracted state might be, you might think, well, I can't escape this. The only way to get out of this is what? Take a pill, have a shot of whiskey, go to a therapist, go to a masseuse, go to a chiropractor. I need to have some external assistance, chemical expansion, external expansion applied to me because I can't get out of it. So what you learn through scanning is that you can expand on your own. You just have to trust that even the smallest amount will bring you there. So when I say squeeze your hands together, 3, 2, 1, and release, you've just started expanding. So that's what we try to do here is practice incremental release of muscular tension. We use the muscles as a guide. And you'll find that as you begin to accumulate these little bits of expansion, your body will start to move, however rigidly it might feel, however stuck it might feel in contraction, it will start to move towards expansion. So that's what we practice. So let's begin. And it is something that improves with practice. So that's why I do it all the time, and I recommend you do. But even 2 minutes will take you out of a contracted state. So let's start, as we said, squeeze your hands together. Tight, tight, tight. That's contraction. And 3, 2, 1, release. Take a deep breath. So you just expanded. On a very small scale, very simple, but you felt it, right? You felt yourself let go. And breath is expansive. Taking a breath, as you can feel, your lungs are expanding. You're letting go. You have to let go to take a breath. You have to release those muscles which were holding your breath. So let's do it again. Squeeze tight, 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 tight. 3, 2, 1, and release. You feel that? Take a deep breath. So we did it again. If you take nothing else from today's session or any session, you've just learned a lot. You can, at any given moment, at any given time, let go. The challenge is being willing to let go. Now, last night when I was still stewing about this issue, which had me so angry, nothing was stopping me from expanding and letting go of thinking of this thing. Nothing, except me. I wanted to hold on to that anger. I wanted to hold on to that thought. I wanted to hold on to that obsessive thinking. So you have to also learn to make the decision to expand. Decide to expand, then expand. One more time. Squeeze your hands together, tight, 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 really tight. Put all your contraction, your energy, your obsession, your anger, your worry into those hands. That's you, contracted. Here we go. You're going to change that. 3, 2, 1, and release. Take a deep breath. And another. And one more. Now sit for just 30 seconds in absolute stillness and silence. Deep breath. And another. Now just take an assessment of how you've changed. It's important. It's important that you pay attention to how you feel as you begin to move from a contracted state into an expanded state. Because as you become a connoisseur of expansion, you can more easily revisit that state. It's like learning a dance routine. Initially, you feel rather awkward. If I put my left foot in front of my right, or then as you begin to learn the dance, it becomes like, what do they call it? Muscle memory. And then you begin to realize that, oh, I remember that. And you can visit it more quickly. You can do that dance more easily. So you're learning. We're very good at contracting. We do that all day. We make decisions, we argue, we think, we worry, we get tense, all these things. But we're not so practiced at letting all of that go. So you're getting better and better at releasing tension. And again, you have to decide that it's worth it. It's hard sometimes to convince myself that relaxing is constructive or will fix anything. But it absolutely does. It's equally as constructive and valuable as the opposite, contraction. And again, what you're looking at is balance. You don't want to be totally contracted. You don't want to be totally expanded. You want to be able to live in life and perform and execute your tasks and duties. That's contraction, but you also want to be able to let go. That's expansion. So you're learning to balance your life. So let's do it again. Only this time, instead of relaxing the hands, we're going to relax the face. Now, I start with the face because it's what I call zone 1. Excuse me. We use our faces a lot. So we're used to what it feels like to have a tense face or relaxed face. So other muscles we're not as familiar with. So on my count, you're going to release all the muscles of your face. Ready? 3, 2, 1, and release. Just let them drop. You feel that slumping, that sort of release, slack. Dude, that's what you're looking for. That's the experience you want to get better and better at. So the face, 3, 2, 1, and release. There it goes. Feel that? Zone 2 is the top of the head. 3, 2, 1, and release. Pay attention to what that felt like, to let go of an incremental amount of tension. Take a breath. Zone 3, the back of the head. 3, 2, 1, and release. Feel that let go? And my shoulders just dropped. Now, sometimes when you go to release one part of your body, the other part will go, oh, what's going on? Is there a relaxation party happening? I'd like to join in. So let that happen. As you start to gently guide, incrementally guide your body into a more expanded state, you'll feel other parts of you joining in. Let that happen. You're gently persuading yourself to give in completely to expansion. Zone 4 is the neck. 3, 2, 1, and release. My shoulders dropped again. You'll also begin to experience a sort of stillness come over you. Stillness is associated with expansion. Action is contraction. Stillness is expansion because we're doing nothing. So you'll begin to take more breaths. You'll begin to sit more comfortably in stillness and silence. Zone 4, the neck again. 3, 2, 1, and let it go. Release. You're doing the same thing as you did with your hands. 3, 2, 1, release. You're just consciously letting go of the smallest amount of muscular tension, the neck. 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Let it go. Feel that? You've just moved the dial. Zone 5 is the shoulders. You're going to let them drop 1 millimeter. 3, 2, 1, let them drop and release. It's okay to slouch. Slouching is completely permitted in scanning because you're letting go. You're slumping. You're letting go of all muscular tension. Deep breath. Again, the shoulders. 3, 2, 1, and release. I've been doing this for years, and I'm still always surprised as I start to let go and release how much tension I was holding. Now that I'm starting to feel more still and quiet and relaxed, I'm going, wow, I had no idea how much tension I was holding, and I thought I was pretty relaxed, but no. We tend to walk around with this low level of tension all the time, and it's only when we take a moment to actually decisively let go that we feel how much tension we were holding. The shoulders, let them drop. 3, 2, 1, and release. That's zone 5. Zone 6 is the chest, the stomach, front of the waist. Starting to leave me. All that tension. 3, 2, 1, and release. Again, the chest, stomach, front of the waist. 3, 2, 1, and release. There's a sense when you are contracted of needing to take action. It's almost a compulsive feeling. I need to be thinking. I need to be worrying. I need to be going somewhere. I can't just do nothing. I have to. A lot of that's fear-based. There's a lot of reason to be afraid these days. Certainly the news doesn't help. There's lots to be worried about, angry about, argumentative about, concerned about, fearful about. So we are in a state of action all the time. I need to do something. I need to think about this. I need to talk about it, argue about it, whatever. And 90% of the time, no, you don't. There's a time to take action, but there's a lot of time when you don't need to be doing that. You can just be relaxing. There's no need to be worrying about something. That issue is not going to go away. So by scanning, you remind yourself that it's safe. You can let go. And you want to do that because tension, contraction is exhausting. And, we tend to be exhausted a lot these days because we're constantly worried. So what we're doing now by expanding is letting go of all that muscular mental tension. The brain, I like to think of it as a muscle. It can only think when it's contracted. As you start to let go of mental tension, you begin to stop thinking and you have a clear, empty mind. Zone 7 is down the back and into the pelvis. So kind of see what that feels like. 3, 2, 1, and release. And again, the back down into the pelvis. 3, 2, 1, and let it go. Release. Tiny bit. And all I'm asking is you let go of 1% of the tension. What's important is not how much, it's that you feel the change. The shift, that awareness that you can change direction from contraction to expansion, from this to this, from this to this. You have control. Doesn't matter how much. What matters is that you change direction, because again, as a reminder, you can't contract and expand at the same time. So if you stop contracting and move into an expanded direction, you've stopped contracting. And you can move 1 centimeter, you can move a meter, you can move a mile. It's up to you, but every little bit helps. And all the while you're doing these incremental changes, you're training yourself that you have the capacity and the power to do it. So it's important that you practice and acknowledge even the subtlest change. So again, the back down into the pelvis, 3, 2, 1, and release. And again, the back down into the pelvis, 3, 2, 1, and release. And finally, zone 8 is the feet. Think about your feet for a minute. And I mean, really, think about your feet. You can direct the energy of your body to a part of your body. This is another technique I'll talk about another time. You can direct a healing energy. If you think about your elbow, just think about it for a few minutes. You'll start to feel it throb. You've directed your energy, and that throbbing is healing. So that's a good way also, if you have a sore neck or a sore back, to lie down or sit down, just relax and start to direct your energy towards that area. Give it the attention it's asking for. Pain is your body asking for attention. It's saying, I need help. Direct your energy there like it's a child and say, I will care for you. And you'll feel a slight throbbing occur. And that throbbing is the blood rushing to that area to heal it. So think about your feet for a minute. And you might start to feel them throb. And now on my count, you're going to let go of the smallest amount of tension in your feet. And you may go, I don't know how to do that. It's okay. Just start to think about it. You'll get better and better at it. 3, 2, 1, and release. And again, the feet, 3, 2, 1, and release. Feel that throbbing? Deep breath. One more. And another. 30 seconds of stillness and silence. Deep breath. Stillness, silence, breath, incremental muscular release. Very simple. That's the whole technique. That's the whole technique. The challenge isn't learning the technique. The challenge isn't understanding the theory of the technique. The challenge is getting yourself to do it. You'll notice, by the way, sometimes when I start these sessions, I'll be clearing my throat a lot. And I've noticed that, and I've convinced that as I start to relax, my body instinctively wants to clear itself. And it's just a natural thing. So excuse me. But I think it's a healing process as well. So that's it for today's session. Every session will, from this point forward, be shorter than they used to be, 15, 20 minutes. Just to remind you of the technique. What I'm hoping is that you will take this technique and practice on your own and put in as much time as you feel comfortable doing it. As I said, we spend a lot of time contracting. To bring ourselves back into balance, we should try to put in the time expanding. And again, you'll always be surprised at how much tension you carry that you're not even aware of. So practice, practice, practice. Even the smallest amount of expansion or muscular relaxation is helpful in that journey towards expansion. That's it. It's called Sqanning, Sqanning. It's the incremental release of muscular tension. Incremental, watch this, 3, 2, 1, release. That's it. Feeling that feeling. Incremental release of muscular tension to achieve a deep state of physical, emotional, and mental calm. I firmly believe in this technique. I've devoted my life to understanding and practicing it, and part of that devotion involves sharing it with others because I think it's very curative, very curative. And by that I mean it can heal you in many ways, spiritually, emotionally, physically. So if you missed any or all of the session, I will post it on my Facebook page. I'll also post it on the Sqanning Facebook page, Sqanning, Sqanning. It means scanning the body, looking for pockets of muscular tension, so you can look for it there. And I try to be here every day, sometime in the morning. As I said, 15, 20-minute sessions. Rewatch any of these if they're helpful to you, or watch the live sessions if you feel like commenting. And I always end every session with the same phrase, and that is love yourself. Love is expansive. Love is inclusive. When you love yourself, you're in truth expanding. and opening yourself up to all that you are, it's also very healing. So when you love yourself, and by that I mean forgiving yourself for everything you are and celebrating everything you are in that way expanding. So it is also very curative and healing, and it makes you a much happier person, and it allows you to help others as well. So that's it for today. Thanks for visiting. I'll probably see you tomorrow, and take care and all the best. Bye-bye.